Grief, guilt, and a whole bunch of unsettling guys. The Alex Garland film, Men, was highly divisive. Some called it brilliant, others a mess. But what's really going on here? Is Alex Garland a man-hater? Let's find out together and watch Men. Hey, I'm Billy Bogues and welcome back to another episode of How Disturbing. And as I mentioned in the intro, today we're looking at Alex Garland's Men. Obviously, my descriptions are brief and fleeting. Viewer discretion is still advised. This is also your spoiler warning. Let's watch Men. You know what I mean. Okie dokie, let's break this baby down. Meet Harper. She's currently in the process of divorcing her husband. Speaking of which, meet James. He's currently in the process of falling. Anyways, that was all a flashback. Harper is currently taking a holiday alone in a nearby village.
But there's no other way.
She needs to clear her head, and she just arrived. This is Jeffrey.
Hello.
Hello.
Mrs. Marlowe, yes?
Harper, yes.
Wonderful. Jeffrey.
Jeffrey is the landlord, and well, he seems nice enough.
Was it a hellish drive?
No, not at all.
Oh, good. M4 can be beastly.
He even refuses to let Harper help carry any of her luggage inside. What a gent.
Oh, you must have bags. Put the car? Why don't I bring them in?
Oh, I can help.
Oh, no, absolutely not. No, you make yourself comfortable.
Jeffrey shows Harper around the home.
Shall I show you around?
Yeah.
He shows Harper the piano room and asks if she can play, and she hastily says no.
Moving into the piano room. Do you play the piano?
No.
At the end of the tour, Jeffrey asks Harper where her husband is as she checked in as Mrs.
Mrs. Marlowe, no?
Yeah, no. No, it isn't. I haven't changed it yet.
Well, that was awkward. Harper decides to call her friend Riley and have a chat about the events of her arrival.
Can you give me the tour? I want to see all of it.
Yeah, can I do it later? I just finished a tour with the owner, Jeffrey.
That is until this weird shit starts happening to her phone. Creepy.
That is very interesting.
Yeah. And it's... and dressage events.
Okie dokie, get ready for a flashback because we're about to see Harper's husband pleading with her not to divorce him.
I'll kill myself.
Well, you can't say something like that.
And well, he's toxic as fuck, but Harper is confident and strong, so she stands her ground.
But when you threaten me into not divorcing you, that is exactly why we have to get divorced. And I am going to divorce you, okay? I am.
Okie dokie, back to the present, and Harper is leaving her villa for a stroll through the countryside. It begins to rain, and Harper wallows in the beauty of the nature around her. Harper eventually reaches a tunnel, and she's very cautious to enter. But when she does enter, she enjoys playing around with the echo. It's all fun and games though until this silhouette appears. And starts screaming and running towards her. She runs away in a panic, eventually passing a farmhouse. Harper turns around to take a picture of the scenery on her phone, but when she does... Yep, that's some weird naked guy who we're going to be calling Green Man. Anyway, it's time for another flashback. Harper is confronting James's dead body on the sidewalk. It's super duper fucked up and his arm is impaled on the metal fence. Okie dokie, back to reality for now, and Harper is waking up. She strolls into the piano room and... yeah, that's right. Turns out she can play and she's pretty damn good. The next morning, while she's taking a work call, we can see Green Man wandering around naked outside of her house.
Figures are correct, her margins disappear. Margins. Yeah.
Harper finally notices Green Man and she calls the cops.
Police.
Please explain the reason for calling.
There's an intruder in my garden, a man. He isn't wearing any clothes and I think he might be stalking me.
But while she's making the phone call, she realises that she's left the door ajar and rushes over to shut it.
61 LZF.
Creepily though, Green Man sticks his filthy arm through the letter hole.
He's trying to get in.
Police are on their way. There's a car in your area.
Okay, flashback time again, and we find James being a controlling fuckstick to Harper.
I'm scaring you.
Yeah, you are.
What a jerk. And it all culminates in this happening.
It's my phone.
Back to reality again, and the cops are here.
Kate, let's get him up.
They've arrested Green Man, but they've kind of dismissed him as just some crazy homeless guy.
Look, it must have been very frightening. I do understand. But honestly, I think he's harmless.
We see Riley exploring the village and she comes across an old church. Flashback time again, and we see Harper finally kicking James out of their apartment.
Whatever you say, whatever you do, you will never, ever see me again. Now get the f down!
And just like the past, back in the present, she's screaming in anguish. Harper leaves the church and runs into this creepy little fucker.
Want to play a game? Hide and seek. You hide, I'll seek.
She refuses to play a game with the little dickbag, and he's chased away by the vicar.
She's told you perfectly clearly she doesn't feel like it. Perhaps she will later, but not right now.
Why don't you f*** off?
You first.
The vicar does offer Harper some counselling.
You must wonder why you drove him to it.
Why, I didn't drive him to it.
But ultimately, the vicar places blame on Harper for contributing to James's death.
Might it be true that if you had given him the chance to apologise, he'd still be alive?
Fuck off.
Harper needs a drink, so she heads down to the local tavern.
Ah, Mrs. Mulder.
Oh look, Jeffrey's here, and he just refuses to let Harper buy her own drink.
Will it be, miss?
Vodka tonic, please.
Oh, let's wait. Oh, here, let me get it.
No,
No, absolutely not.
I've
I
got
shall.
it. I've got it. Oh, please.
Franklin, our money's no good here.
When a local policeman arrives, Harper finds out that the Green Man is no longer in custody and has been set free.
No, it's not your fault, Jeffrey.
It must have been awful for you.
It was. But they have him now. So.
Adam, had to release the bugger about an hour ago.
What?
I also am going to mention at this point, in case you haven't noticed, that all the faces of the men around this village, including that creepy little guy, well, they all seem to have the same face. Also fair to mention that from here on out, Men becomes a fucking ride, so get ready. That night at her villa, Harper gets some weird texts, and all the lights outside start to flicker. Harper walks outside to investigate and finds the policeman from the tavern, only he's not answering her.
What is it? What's happened?
And then he just disappears.
Why aren't you replying?
Then, out of nowhere, one of the patrons from the tavern comes sprinting at Harper, and she runs inside and barricades herself in. She grabs a knife and holds up in the kitchen as the intruder smashes the kitchen window. The intruder starts pounding on the door before they finally burst through, and it's Jeffrey?
I said I have a weapon! If you come in here, I'm going to use it!
Mr. Marlowe, what on earth are you talking about?
Oh, and it turns out that smashed window, just a bird.
Oh, God. Oh.
Jeffrey goes outside to confront any would-be intruders, and he also just literally disappears.
Seems to me like they might have got.
And now, in his place, and face to face with Harper, is the Green Man. She manages to get back inside, and the Green Man sticks his hand through the letterbox again. Okay, I don't know how I'm going to show the next part, but I'm going to try. And what happens is, the Green Man has his arm through the mail slot. Harper manages to get the knife and stab him through the arm. As he pulls his arm back, the knife slices his arm right down the center, causing him to have like two little floppy vagina arms. Yeah. That has to be one of the goriest scenes I have ever witnessed in any horror movie. Anyway, Harper goes back into the kitchen and that little jerk kid's in there.
You really hurt me.
And it's not hard to notice that he also has the mutilated double arm.
Look what you did.
Stay away from me.
Harper can't bring herself to kill a small child, even if he is a jerk, so she busts her way out of the kitchen.
Good. So you hide. I'll count to 10.
As soon as she does, however, one of the patrons from the pub chases her up the stairs. She hides in the bedroom, but now it's the vicar who's breaking in. He tries to have a struggle snuggle with Harper, but luckily for her, she still has the knife and stabs him in the guts. Harper gets in her car and attempts to leave, but as she drives away, oh fuck, look out, it's Jeffrey! Jeffrey steals Harper's car and attempts to run her down with it.
Mrs. Marlowe!
Before he eventually crashes it into a wall. Alright, Green Man is back. I'm not sure how I'm going to show the rest of this review, but yeah, Green Man grows a vagina and gives birth to the little jerk kid. After screaming for no reason for a while, the boy then grows a vagina and he gives birth to the vicar. Okay, you can probably see where this is going by now, but the vicar grows a vagina and then he gives birth to, look at that, Jeffrey. And finally, Jeffrey grows a vagina and gives birth to James. James sits down on the couch, exhausted, and Harper sits down beside him. James tries one final time to make Harper feel guilty for James unaliving himself.
My ankle snapped. My internal organs crushed. This is what you did.
Unaffected by this, Harper finally asks James one final question.
What is it that you want from me?
Your love.
The end. Okay, Men came out in 2022 and in Australia it received an R18+ rating. Men was directed by the legendary Alex Garland, but I'm actually not really going to do much of a review here, and that's for a couple of reasons. The first reason is because of the obvious political aspect going on here. I don't really want to pick a side. And secondly, it's because there was an immense amount of symbolism that I didn't even have time to get into in this video. I will say this though, the film Men is an incredibly beautiful film, and I've chosen the word beautiful specifically. Even when Men is tragic and disturbing, it still manages to be magnificent and captivating. It just looks and sounds beautiful. Jessie Buckley has been one of my favourite actors for a long time, and Rory Kinnear has obviously put in an excessively amazing job playing all of these characters in the movie. Men might be a polarising film, but I encourage you to go and watch it regardless. It's definitely a beautiful film. Alright, let's rank and rate Men to see where it sits amongst all the other disturbing films that we've seen. First of all, I've got to give Men a rating out of 100 for just how good it was as a film, outside of any of the disturbing elements. And for Men, well, I thought it was pretty good. I'm actually going to award it a 61.9 out of 100. Now, because what I think differs so much from what other people think sometimes, I have to get an audience rating and average that together. So when I go to the most popular movie review sites, it seems like the big wide world thinks Man is worth a 57.2 out of 100. And that's a pretty good score for the film when you consider exactly how divisive it was. Next up, we're going to average together what I thought of Men with what you thought of Men, and that gives us a 59.6 out of 100. Next up, we have to rate Men purely on the disturbing factor. How messed up was it outside of how good it was as a movie? And I'm going to award Men, and this was a hard one to rate, but I'm going to award Men a disturbing factor of 67.8 out of 100. Yeah, like I said, this one was hard to rate the disturbingness on. And then lastly, we have to average together how disturbing the movie was with how good the movie was to give us our ultimate disturbing rating. And pump those numbers into a calculator. Our ultimate disturbing rating for men is 63.7. Yeah, cool. Solid rating. Alright, bring in the grand spreadsheet here, and we're going to find out where men sits. It looks like it's won itself the number 4 spot. Wow, that's actually pretty cool. Turns out we think Men has a slightly better average than Snowtown, and a slightly worse average than Speak No Evil. Alright gang, we're at the end of another episode of How Disturbing. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I hate asking, it makes me feel like a douchebag, but it really helps out a smaller channel. And on that topic, if you have a product that you want to sell, I will promote it on How Disturbing for free. I don't want any money, I just want to help out another creator. And having said that, I'm Billy Bogues. Catch you later.